This? I thought you were joking.
No, I wasn't. We were.
Are you recording this?
Yeah.
That's that's what level of fucking depravity is that?
I told you.
I thought you were joking. I thought you were like, well, we won't release it.
No, I was like, I'm not recording this.
But I thought, oh my god. Me and Jason just spent 15 minutes talking a very animated, like professional conversation. Is that what we need to have a real conversation now? Just to hold microphones?
Yes.
Because we were that. He wasn't fucking recording it at all, and we were just having a great chat about like, you know, and just
like being each other's life
evaluating.
coaches.
Yeah, and pepping each other up and evaluating the year gone by. And we were just sitting here in a room holding microphones. There's nothing being recorded. This is.
It was good though. I had caught at some point. I'd realized that Kev was holding the microphone to his mouth like we were actually recording.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I noticed that I'd started doing it, and we went a few minutes of doing it that way. And I was like, I'm not recording this.
And I thought, from where I'm sitting, the chair is perfectly blocking the.
You
Zoom.
can't see the light.
I can't see the light.
The big red record light.
It's actually. Oh man. Well, that was gold that was lost there because there was certain points where you were like saying names, and I was like, I'll have to cut that out. I'll cut that out. But the rest will be good. It was a good general message.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was good. I feel a weight gone.
Yeah.
Hey, hello everyone.
Happy New Year.
2023.
Yeah.
Hope you had a good Christmas. I assume everyone was sick. We were.
Yeah. But roaring into the year. Look at this. The 12th of January, episode 1. Boom.
In fairness, we recorded the van episode for the Patreon.
Yeah?
And I was coughing every 2 minutes.
Yeah, we were both. You could hear it in our voices for that.
Yeah, I put that in the show notes. I was like, if you notice any audio issues, that's because of the coughing. Now,
is that why you put an entire full song in the middle of the episode?
It was great.
It was because I was listening to that. I listened to it the other day, and the song just comes out of nowhere, and I was like, okay. Surely he's going to cut it off after the first chorus. Nope, an entire. I had to skip through it.
You prick.
It was very funny, and I'm glad that it got to see the light of day. But
if anyone wants to hear that, sign up for the Patreon.
Sign up for the Patreon. Go listen to our episode about the van, along with all the other stuff.
50 something. Yeah, the Patreon. Thanks for everyone for supporting.
Yeah.
Christmas, and some people bought a whole year in advance, which gets you what, 15% off?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. You've stolen one of my socks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I only noticed this because I was going to say it to you yesterday when I saw you wearing that sock. So now there's two issues. You're wearing two odd socks. So either you've stolen both of them and you're wearing one a day, or else you've stolen one of them and you're wearing the same socks as yesterday.
I'll tell you this. I'm wearing one of your socks for the second day in a row, but shock surprise. Wait for this.
That's another one of my socks.
No, that's my sock.
Is it?
That's my one.
He's wearing another one underneath.
I was doubling up. I've changed the underneath socks.
Okay.
And that's a good tip.
That's pretty good.
2 days.
So you're wearing 4 odd socks.
Yeah.
And an inside-out hat.
Yes.
You've gone wrong.
2023, baby. It's
when you stop caring.
Year of the Dragon. That's my new name. I'm the Dragon.
The Dragon.
The Dragoon.
You need help.
I need socks. That's the that was what the old Patreon, the old buy me a coffee thing was.
Oh yeah, to buy you socks. Yeah, there's
a
picture of you in my old apartment wearing sunglasses, and another picture of me looking like
because I was on your bed and on something else.
Yeah, that's true. And then there's a picture of me looking like I was being on Skag for 17 years, sleeping in the back of a bin.
Ah, what a time.
What a time.
2022, 21. Oh, some of those are from 2019, 20.
2019, the whole gambit. But do you know what this episode's about?
No.
Okay, well, I don't know if you've been following the news recently. Actually, in the news very recently, your friend, that's another episode in the Patreon, isn't it? The Giant Man.
Charles Byrne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was literally just talking about him on Monday to a friend of mine. And now the British Museum has decided to, although I didn't read the article, did you? It just says that he's not going to be publicly displayed anymore. I think they did that before where they just hid him. Yeah,
take him away for a few years. Let the paddies stop complaining, and then all of a sudden,
back again. So is he being buried or not?
No. I don't know. We should try and get his body exhumed back to.
Just try and get him on the podcast.
We get him back to here, and we make a big statue out of him. A life-size statue. We'll bronze him.
That'd be great, actually, to get him back here and then just put him in a museum here, as per his wishes. But you can hear about his story also on the Patreon about the Irish Giants.
We'll stop plugging the Patreon, but there's loads there, and all
There
and all the money from there. There's the live episodes, so there's loads of now, about 12.
Yeah.
There's all the cowboy specials we're not allowed to put out onto the regular feed because people did sue us, like John Delaney
and Sean Quinn,
Pat Hickey. All of those, and then and there's regular bonus episodes.
All of season 1 now.
All of season 1. Because,
Great content, bad delivery,
bad audio. Yeah, it was we were young, nascent podcast.
Yeah, but the jokes are still there, probably.
Someone said that on the Patreon that they were like, you've been good since day one. I was like, that is not true.
Incorrect.
But yeah, thanks for all the support and all of that good stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But here's this week's episode about a magic stone.
Yes.
I don't know if you've been following the news recently, but Queen Elizabeth's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that?
Yep. You're looking at me like, do I know anything about it?
It was in the red tops for a while there. She's gone.
She's gone.
Next in line.
Now there's something else in the red tops with the royal family.
Oh yeah.
A certain red top royal family member.
We can talk about that I haven't really been reading. Well, so Harry has released an autobiography.
You know what we'll do? We'll do a Patreon episode for it.
Yeah. But she's dead, and Charles III is going to be the King of England.
Yeah.
He's getting not ordained, coronated, inaugurated, whatever, on the 6th of May. I don't know why there's such a break in between, probably out of respect, or really to let the anti-monarchy thing build up. You wouldn't, it'd be better to get in and out, do that quickly.
But it's also probably just leave it in case in
case she comes back.
But in case she comes back.
Stranger things have happened.
A la Jesus.
Yeah.
But if, just in case some stories start to surface, just leave enough time there where you're like, do you know what?
We're bringing it forward. Yeah, if there's certain court cases start happening, you can just be like, surprise coronation. That's a pretty good idea. This is unrelated, but I was reading Bill Gates' AMA this morning. He was doing like an interview on Reddit. Didn't answer any of the questions about Epstein.
That would make sense.
That would make sense.
What's it? Magnus Carlsen. You like chess. What's your man's name?
Yeah, Magnus Carlsen.
Yeah, I saw a video there pop up.
See, Epstein does well.
No, he beat Bill Gates in a game of chess.
Yeah.
Whereas I was like, that's what's meant to happen. It's a world grandmaster chess guy versus a guy who's smart for not doing chess.
Was that a news story?
It was a video.
It
probably was a story somewhere.
That's like Andrew Tate bet Piers Morgan in chess, and everyone was like, he's a genius.
Yeah.
But usually, but like Andrew Tate's dad was a chess master, and also like,
and he's been playing chess since he was 5, and Piers Morgan's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but like
so was the other one as well.
That is true. Just put that Andrew Tate also a bad man. But like I could probably beat Piers Morgan. Like someone who doesn't play chess. Chess is one of those games that everyone kind of thinks that like you know the rules from childhood and you can play a game. You beat most people at chess if you've been playing it a lot, as opposed to like someone who hadn't played it since they were a teenager.
But I saw the video. It popped up and it said, "What's his name? Magnus something Carlsen."
Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus Carlsen. So it said, Magnus Carlsen beats Bill Gates in 12 seconds. And then I watched it. I was like, well, how this video is a minute and a half long? What's the deal with chess? Do you like hit the button every time?
Because Magnus Carlsen is like a triple. There's regular chess, there's blitz, and then there's like speed chess.
Okay.
I don't know if I've got those terms right, but one of them you can do it so like that's all in the space of 15 minutes, or that each player has 15 minutes to play, or that each player has 5 minutes to play.
Okay.
So you make your move and you hit the button, and then they have to make their move and they hit the timer, and then the timer switches back to you, back to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because I was saying it was a lie. It took him way longer than that because it was a minute and 29 seconds was the video.
Outrageous. Really.
Yeah.
But he's an man who's extremely good at chess and is world champion across 3 different divisions of chess, beats philanthropist who does computers.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what?
And was on Epstein Island.
Do you know what?
What?
I never thought of this until right now.
Yeah.
Andrew Tate could be a world champion chess boxer.
Oh, that's true.
Because I can't think of too many people. You have to be good at chess and good at fighting.
Yeah.
That's the mark. Magnus Carlsen should fight Andrew Tate.
That's the matchup, the 2023. That's what we want to see this year.
Or Bill Gates.
Yeah. Hopefully Andrew Tate will just be fighting off big Romanian lads in prison for the next while.
Tell me about other
That's
lads.
not some sort of...
Tell me about this other lad who probably should be in prison.
Well, this is his dad. Actually, honestly, I don't even know how the royal family works. I don't know what's the relation between it.
think
No,
Rick-
it's his brother.
Ricky Tomlinson just turns around and says, "It's you, son."
But anyway, Charles III, King of the Britons,
Charles in charge
of
of
the
our
Crown and of Wales, Charles in charge, Scotland, Canada a bit, and the Bahamas maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Charles, he's coming.
I don't
Want Charles in charge of me.
But we
Good
used to do
stuff.
more songs.
Yeah, we stopped singing as much, but yeah, he's getting coronated in May. You know, coronation comes from the word corona, meaning crown.
Yeah,
Another corona that popped up recently. Do you remember COVID-19?
I do.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's getting coronated. But we're going to talk about what he's getting coronated on. I think I've said this in the podcast before, actually, but I thought this was funny. From up until the 1960s, the British monarchy passed to the top male heir, the oldest male heir, like ignoring if there was an older female in the family.
Okay, yeah.
But they changed that law in 1966, so it passes to the oldest child regardless of gender. But if that had been
56,
1966,
Oh.
yeah, there's a swing in 60s. They're like, what if a woman could be in charge?
they won the World Cup and they were like, "Fuck it, it doesn't matter."
While they're distracted. Change. But I mean, famously, they've had several female queens over like the generations.
Yeah,
But if that had been the case back in 1866, Queen Victoria's heir would have been her eldest child, also Victoria. And in 1857,
Victoria B.
Victoria B, Victoria B, married the Emperor of Prussia when she was 17, a man called Frederick III. Fred died in 1888, and Victoria died in 1901, a few months after her mother died, end of the Victorian era, which means that the English throne would have passed to Victoria B's son, a young man called Wilhelm II, Emperor of Germany,
Yes.
which means that 14 years before World War One, Germany and England would have had the same king.
He's the Dutch fella that has the football team named after him.
He's not. I don't think he's Dutch. Has he got a football team named after him?
I know there's a Willem too.
I know that you frame all geopolitical, everything you know about the world is through the lens of football
And Simpsons.
and The Simpsons. Wilhelm he's a pretty big figure now in World War One. Remember that?
No, I know the World Cup didn't happen for a couple of years there. For
Anyway, that's just something that's interesting. I guess the connection between Germany and England. But well, instead of having Wilhelm II as the king, they had George V. He was in charge of the family during World War One, and he decided to change the name of the family from. Do you know what they're the Windsors now? Do you know what they were before that?
Oh no.
The Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha. So he decided to change that to Windsor in 1917.
That makes sense.
Everything German was getting a bit.
Yeah.
But apparently the catalyst was Germany started bombing London using a new plane called the Gotha G4.
Oh.
So it was like the family name. So he made a
Yes.
big announcement. Was like, all right, we're the Windsors now. So they just named themselves after an already established castle.
I was gonna say Windsor Castle, so they just went.
Yeah.
Okay.
It would be like if Dublin started getting bombed by the German Larney plane, and I was like, you know what? Changing my name to a pint of Guinness.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that.
Or if you became like T-shocked and said like, "Oh, my name's Tara." It's
Yeah.
not my hill, but
Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. Just change your name to my name's 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps. You can't be annoyed at that. But so this is where the Windsor name comes from. But I was thinking of that. Did you ever see Blackadder?
not a single episode.
No.
No.
The
I
last
will.
season.
People keep, and I think it's you specifically, keep telling me to go watch it.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a good line that where Blackadder's torturing one of his. One of the characters is called Captain Darling. It's funny enough already. It's like, I'm as British as Queen Victoria. So your father's German, you're half German, and you married a German. It's just good British humor. Yeah, so they're all basically Germany.
So you're saying that they were in on it,
They were in on it. It was an inside job.
whatever this World War One thing was.
I was reading some stupid article about Brexit the other day. The headline was like, the British are finally realizing how negative Brexit has been. There was some English guy writing it, and he was like, over 500 people have died on trolleys in the NHS. Scaled up for population. That's a 9/11 amount of people. That's a 9/11 every month. And he just kept saying that. It's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read. Brexit has caused a 9/11 of NHS deaths every month.
Which is, yeah, because if you were to scale...
Don't measure things in 9/11s.
Also, if you check the amount of people died in America because lack of access to hospitals,
Yeah.
it's probably a lot bigger than 9/11.
Yeah, it is.
Another thing that just didn't happen.
No. But listen, no one cares about 9/11 anymore. Everyone cares about Charles.
We had someone in the club say that the other month. They were from a different part of America. I don't want to say Texas because I'd probably remember if it was, but I think maybe Texas. And someone had mentioned like 9/11. I know a lot of Americans, they don't like that joke. They come over here. It's not really joked about over there. They come here. They pretty much every Irish comedian for some reason has a joke about 9/11 in their set. And I'd said it to him. I was like, yeah, it's kind of, look, sorry if you get offended by that. He's like, nah, fuck him. He's like, what? He's like, America. He's like, that was New York. I'm from Texas.
Yeah,
That's very far away, and I don't like big cities like that.
that's fair. And I mean, if you're 30 or under, that happened when you were a child
Yeah.
or not born.
Mm.
Pearl Harbor. Now that was an atrocity. But this is way off topic, right? No one. This is
We're bringing it back. Fuck the history. Back to just...
conspiracy theories. But all that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter how much of an ex-German prince Charles is. What's important is that he's going to get coronated in May 2023. And as part of the coronation process, it involves, you have to sit on a rock known as the Stone of Scone.
Okay.
Have you heard this?
No, but I'm on board.
This is what the whole episode is about.
Great.
That stone is also known as the Coronation Stone, the Stone of Destiny, Jacob's Pillow, and the Tarnished Stone.
The tarnished stone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
I like Jacob's Pillow.
you'll like it even more when I explain why. But every monarch for the past about 1,000 years has sat on that stone in order to be crowned the rightful monarch of Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an actual thing that's happening in the year 2023. He has to sit on a magic stone in order to be seen as the rightful king.
That's great.
Yeah. Just
More traditions like that.
yeah. I mean, in terms of, I like seeing England through like the lens of American sitcoms and stuff and what they think England is.
Yeah.
This is the exact sort of stuff that you'd see in like an episode of some American sitcom on NBC. It's pretty accurate.
Yeah. I wonder.
This is something to be in like 30 Rock.
Is there like an official seat sniffer for when he finally gets off the stone?
To why?
Just 'cause I don't know.
It's just part of the
It's what people are into. The royal family is fetishes.
maybe. Someone is in charge of the stone. It's a very important job.
Oh yeah.
There's probably a family that's like generations. It's 1,000 years. This has been the stone.
Why isn't it a throne?
They put a chair on it. It is a throne.
Oh wait. So this is stone. This well, you're saying it's the ground.
No, it's a
an altar?
stone, and they've built a chair around it, so now it's a throne of a stone. It's the
Okay.
coronation throne stone. We'll get into it. Right, so there's a lot of origins for the stone because it's very old. And I'm going to ignore... This seems to be the main one, and by main one I mean it's the one that fits my narrative the most, and it's the
Okay.
most fun.
There we go.
So here it is.
That's all I've ever asked for.
The origin of the stone goes back to the book of Genesis from the Old Testament.
Phil Collins.
Oh yeah. Jacob, aka Israel, tricks his elderly father and steals his older brother Esau's birthright.
Okay.
I know you're familiar with Genesis. You only got one page into the Bible. This is it. He steals Esau's birthright. Esau's not happy. Jacob has to go into hiding. When he's on the run, he goes to sleep on a bed of stones and he has a vision, or as most people will call it, a dream.
Yeah.
And this is from Genesis. And behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God ascending and descending on it. And behold,
Tim
the Lord
Robbins.
stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed.
Are you sure it wasn't Tim Robbins? And he said, "You know what they did to us over there, man."
That's where Jacob's ladder comes from.
That's great.
Yeah, is that in the film?
No,
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. They
No.
don't reference it.
But this is, it's that parable in the Bible is where that film comes from.
Class.
But now, you've been making pop culture references about one of the most important key parts of the Bible. Jacob lay down on a stone, had this dream, and he, naturally. Also, they say "lo and behold" a lot. That was 3 sentences in a row.
Wait, I don't get enough. We're not doing a film club about that episode. Did you? Because I was from that film.
Yeah,
If anyone's seen it, I kind of ruin it now. But it's Tim Robbins. He's come back from Vietnam, and he keeps kind of slipping into 2 different realities. One where he's alive, he has his wife
yeah,
and kids, and everything's good, and then another one where he's going out with some sexy little Latina.
yeah.
And I'm led to believe that this is the bad reality. I've got no responsibilities. I'm going out with a much younger, hot, Hispanic woman, and then all of a sudden, oh no, I'm back into my wife and kids. I'm in suburbia. What's happening? They didn't do enough to separate those 2.
Yeah, you were getting confused. You fell asleep during that film as well, as I remember. But you were getting confused as to which one the nightmare was. Oh, he just woke up in his own bed, and his little 6-year-old that he thought was dead has come up to see him. Take me back. Take me back. But that film gets its name from this parable, which is also the origin story. Well, I mean, obviously, so Jacob wakes up. He knows that he's accidentally found the gate to heaven and hell. The stones that he slept on, Jacob's a smart man. These are now magic stones. Or it is stones, but I think it became stone.
He lost some of them along the way.
Yeah.
So, this is probably the most important one.
He does a lot of walking, so you got to kind of, you pick one stone, you stick with that. Yeah. But it becomes known as Jacob's pillow.
I think it's the smallest, lightest stone.
Actually, Lord, I think it's this pebble. If I could, no, the big one. All right then, let's carry this to Egypt, I guess. Now this is going back to one of the first episodes we did, which is also now behind the Patreon, Indiana Jones and the Hill of Tara.
Yeah,
we talked about.
Is it the Black Israelites, or who is it?
The British Israelites, yeah. But so Jacob will go on to have 12 sons across 4 different women.
Nice.
But he did live to 147, so you got to keep, spread it around. So those 12 sons would form the 12 tribes of Israel, and we talked about this in that episode. 10 of those tribes go missing and become known as the Lost Tribes of Israel. And then centuries later, that group known as the British Israel Association. They're convinced that the British are the true descendants of the lost tribes, and that will give them the divine right to rule. So they're kind of obsessed with tracing the lineage back to Jacob and Abraham, and they reckon they're descended from the tribes as their rightful God-given right to rule the world.
Yeah.
And to prove that, so in that episode we talked about, they went over to the Hill of Tara to find the Ark of the Covenant, which the tribes definitely brought over to Ireland. But what if, while they were bringing over
I didn't know my dad, but my ma swore it wasn't just some sailor. It was actually
one of the lost tribes of Israel. But they went looking for the Ark of the Covenant in Tara. But what if they also brought Jacob's pillow with them? And what if that very same Jacob's pillow stone became the Leah Fail, the Stone of Destiny?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the end of episode 1 of Ancient Histories. What's that stupid show on Netflix that everyone got obsessed with over Christmas?
Oh, I didn't see any of it.
It's this sort of stuff. It's just, I think it's like Ancient Histories is some guy being like, how could these people in 4 different parts of the world have known about aqueducts, aliens?
Usually it is aliens, yeah.
It's always aliens.
And they make it seem like they listen to the lad enough to make him seem credible, but then they'll do a cutaway shot at some point where he's bent over into a lake and he's drinking dirty brown water out of his hand. He's like, this is the guy we're trusting?
Yeah.
I saw one before about the Loch Ness. There was a lad who was adamant about this, and then they just did, at the very end, just a little cutaway shot to him drinking straight from the river. That's not enough to say his theory isn't correct.
Yeah.
But it's enough for me to discredit him.
It's the same with the Sean Quinn documentary. It's just like, we're not going to say anything. We're just going to let the cameras roll. That you do all the work for yourself.
Yeah.
Here's enough rope. But you know about the Leah Fall, the Leah Fail? The magic stone of destiny up on the Hill of Tara.
No.
So, supposedly, I'm going to say supposedly and apparently a lot, or else I can just drop that now and just say it definitively.
Yes.
Definitively. All right.
Stone of Divinity.
100% true fact. The stone arrived by ship in Ireland around 580 BC when the Tuatha De Danann travelled over from the Iberian Peninsula with it.
Nice.
So there was Eachad, son of a high king and descendant of Ur-Ramon, Princess Tia Tefi, which I remember we definitely talked about her in the the Indiana Jones episode, and a scribe called Simon Brock. I have a feeling you also talked about these guys in one of the. What was the one about the man who went and was it with the oily fish? The guy who went and hid in the cave for years. There was also the story of
No,
ancient
that's-
Israelites coming from Egypt.
is that? It wasn't Brendan the Navigator, was it?
It could have been, maybe. But anyway, it's another source, you
There's
know?
another thing. Don't be asking me on the drop of a hat to remember something
remember
I wrote
stuff.
last year.
Yeah. Well, this is something I remember Princess Teffi. I remember that from the Indiana Jones episode. But anyway, you know, these people that are coming over from the Iberian Peninsula, they bring with them a magic stone that had been used to crown the kings of Spain, or whatever the hell it was called back then. Ake himself had recovered the ancient stone in Jerusalem before the invasion of the Babylonians, and now they were bringing it to the hill of Tara. And so
Wait, so they're showing in Babylon as well? What was Babylonia?
there was a place over there
Was it? It's not like the
by the rivers of Babylon.
yeah, but it's like the Tower of Babylon.
That's
where-
the Tower of Babel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah, I thought it was Babylon.
No, it's all these. It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a magic stone they brought over from the Middle East,
Are you
or as
sure
they
it-
knew it
are
back
you sure
then,
it's not
the
it,
East.
it wasn't just a stone from the Tower of Babylon that they were selling, kind of like that American lad I knew who thought he had a bit of the Rock of Cashel.
Oh yeah.
Or no, the Blarney Stone. He
Oh.
thought he had an original piece of the Blarney Stone that you could just buy from the gift shop.
But they've got this stone over now, and they put it in Tara, and all the high kings of Ireland use the stone for their inaugurations for the next 1,000 years. So a would-be king holds their feet to the stone, and if it howls with joy, it means they're the rightful high king.
Okay, so you stand on this stone.
Yep.
And if it makes a big noise.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, no, you hold your feet to it. I'm not really sure actually. I think you're lying down with your feet to it. But I'm pretty sure it's just there's a hole in it and it's the sound of the wind whistling through it. So you wouldn't go up there on like a doldrum day.
You'd be waiting
You'd
for a
wait
good
you'd
windy
wait you'd
day.
be flying your kite out the window, and as soon
Yeah.
as it started picking up, you'd be like, you know what, this is actually a good day. Now when my son's in the news again for being a paedophile, actually now I'll coronate myself. I'll head up the hill. But yeah, one of the names for Ireland comes from the Leofold stone. The Tuatha Dé Danann supposedly named us, or the island, Inishfall, meaning the island of destiny.
Mm.
And from that, sometimes Ireland's referred to as Inishfall. There's an old poem by Aubrey Thomas de Vere that we talked about before at some stage. But fall is where you get Fianna Fáil from. The Fianna of the Fall, the soldiers of the land of destiny.
There you go.
Yeah. You never hear much about the Leofold was like vandalized twice in the last 20 years.
For what? For
I don't know. Someone hit it with a hammer and someone drew paint over it then a while after that.
hmm.
For I don't know why. Just general badness.
Hit it with a hammer. Did they break it or?
It's a giant stone. They probably took chips out of it to sell to tourists.
Yeah.
But so this becomes the ancient stone now that is crowning the kings of Ireland. At least until Muirchertach MacEircha.
Now, did you just have a go at saying that 4 different ways,
I
or was
did.
that all the one word?
Muirchertach MacEircha. He was crowned around the year 500. Muirchertach was the great grandson of Niall of the Nine Hostages, who we talked about before. In the year 503, so this is kind of a lot of this is based in myth, but this is a thing that actually happened. In the year 503, a group from the north of Ireland invaded modern Scotland, got some territory in the west there, and made up a new kingdom of Dál Rita. So there was like it spanned across the sea, but it was like sort of modern Antrim, and then like where we would land when we were heading to Edinburgh.
Larn,
Larne. No,
Oh, the
Larne's on
other
this. What's the other side?
Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah. All around Argyll or that sort of region. But they made up a new kingdom of Dál Rita under a man known as Fergus MacEirich, later known as Fergus the Great, Fergus Moore. Fergus is also Muirchertach's great uncle. So Muirchertach.
He must have been so pissed. My granddad, Niall.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Fergus. Me, Muirchertach. Whatever his name is. Anyway, he's the High King of Ireland.
Mert.
Fergus is his great uncle.
Just
Mert. Yeah.
There you go.
In order to establish himself as a true Gael king, Fergus borrows the Leofold from Mert, brings it over to Scotland so that he can do the whole ceremony over there and get himself coronated. But after that, him and all his men die in a tragic sea accident, and the stone gets stuck in Scotland.
Oh, I think they're going to say lost at sea. But
No,
that's
they-
easy to get then.
well, you'd think so, but no. So this clown lends out our magic stone to the Scots, and we never get it back.
And now the British are using it to
Well, this is
so
just
a paedophile can be coronated.
there's a gap in between that, but yeah, that's one of the trains of thought. Now, it doesn't really explain why the stone is still in Tara. It's there now.
Oh,
So, but don't ignore that for a second. It does explain why no more high kings were recorded as being crowned after
so
Mert.
that's the movie. It starts out with, let me tell you how I got here.
Yeah.
Freeze frame.
It's record scratch.
You don't know where I've been, what I had to do to get here.
And then
The
get
amount of arses I've ever feet.
feet I had to put up with. So ignoring the fact that it's still there, this explains why no more high kings were crowned there after 500. I think there's also a story that Cuchulainn split it in half after his mate wasn't crowned. And then I think there's a legend that it was used again when Brian Boru was around.
Mm-hmm.
But let's just go with this one story for now. They sent it to Scotland, doesn't come back. So the Lair Gowla, the Book of Conquests, it is a story about the Tuatha Dé Danann bringing the Leofold from Scotland to Ireland originally.
Oh, so now it's just back where it had.
Maybe that was the story of it coming back and it got mixed up. There's another story from the early 1300s about an Egyptian pharaoh's daughter that brought it to Ireland and then on to Scotland. So that kind of maybe ties in. All these stories are about 1,000 years after the events are supposed to happen, so it's hard to know. And the evidence seems to point to the fact that the stone was still there in the 1100s. Apart from all these stories,
Mm-hmm.
what are we going to discard? 5 to 6 stories written hundreds of years after the fact?
Maybe.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, you may want to discard a little book called the Bible. So there. But either way, there's a magic stone being used in Scotland to crown Scottish kings after this period. So around like the years 1200.
Right. And
Some say this is also Jacob's pillow. Some say it's Leofold, including me now. So there's another story that, like, ignoring it taking a detour to Ireland, they also have a legend that it's the Jacob's pillow.
Oh, right. So they're saying, oh, no, you do have a magic stone, but this isn't it. I don't know what's after happening.
I don't know what's happened to your magic stone. We have another magic stone with the same origin story.
Yeah, and
That's
look,
also
I have this piece of paper that's dated from ages ago. saying-
yeah. It's got a cert. This one's unboxed. It's still coming with the original packaging from Jacob.
How much can I get for this? I don't know. Let me call my buddy.
Yeah,
I got a guy.
who knows everything about ancient magic stones?
I'll give you $100 for it.
When I saw this guy walk in with that ancient stone, I knew I had to have it. It's actually, there's a lot of them. It seems now that like Spain, Ireland, Scotland, and we'll see in a second England, all of stories from around this time about a magic stone that they use to crown people on.
Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot going on, was there? That they couldn't think of anything else to be like, this is our magic, like scepter. Make something.
But it's also like it's from the first probably 20 to 30 pages of the Bible. They're like, oh, what? Was he sleeping on a stone? You know what? I actually saw another stone recently, and we should use that to crown all of our kings, and it's the same stone.
Mm.
But anyway, they have a magic stone of their own, which they keep in or near Scone Abbey, near Perth in Scotland, until the year 1296 when Edward I and his men rob it from Scotland during the invasion and bring it back to England.
I'd say the ladies in the parish centre at Scone Abbey are fucking sick about that. Everyone else can just get away with ham sandwiches, and they're like, well, every single time someone's going to make the joke.
You got it, yeah.
So fresh scones.
I'm sure they've heard it all.
It's like full roast dinner, Abbey.
But Edward, they rob the Scots magic stone and they bring it back to England because Edward thinks if he's crowned on this stone, it makes him the rightful heir of Scotland and England.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's got the stone, can't argue with that. So the English then start using that stone to crown their kings. And after like the Act of Union in 1707, it's used to crown the new king of like Scotland and England.
Okay.
So they use it to crown the English kings. Scotland and England unify. It's now used to crown the king of the Britons.
Great.
It's the same stone. In the 17th century, they built a chair around the magic stone, known as the coronation chair or King Edward's chair.
What about are Wales factored into this at all? Do they have a stone?
This is the same stone.
Okay.
So I guess after a certain point, it's now the stone that.
Has it just been traveling around kind of like a Junior B trophy after the town's won it? Like it spends 2 weeks in everyone's house.
Yeah. But no, they get. So that's. For 500 years? It's in Westminster Abbey. And it becomes a very sacred, magical stone.
Gotcha.
That they rob from us, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in a way, is the most British culture thing of all.
Yes.
Robbing other people's stuff. But, so the story that they stole it from the Scottish is true. The Scottish might have stolen it from us 100 to 200 years before that. And we might have taken it from Egypt. Anything's possible.
Okay. I thought you said it was given to us.
Yeah. Well, it was taken by the fleeing tribes of Israel from
Yeah.
Egypt, and they brought it to us
Yes,
as a
we
gift.
didn't. Yeah, but we didn't.
We didn't steal it.
Yeah.
No. It was given to us.
It was just resting on our island.
Yeah. So we'll jump forward to World War One. Well, actually, the summer of 1914, the suffragettes of the Women's Social and Political Union planted a bomb near the Coronation Stone and blew it up. So somehow no one was injured, but it did manage to break the stone in half.
Oh.
But I think there was just a crack in the stone. But Cuchulainn also supposedly cracked it in half. Maybe.
Yeah.
It was just the original crack.
Freeze thaw action. That's
Um,
also another possibility.
during World War II, the Brits were very worried about the Magic Stone getting damaged by German bombing. So they moved it to Gloucester Cathedral for the duration of the war. But then they started thinking, what about the propaganda benefits? If the Germans, bearing in mind what they did, how they got the stone originally was stealing it from the Scottish in order to crown their kings on it to lay claim to Scotland. They were like, what if the Germans steal our magic stone in the year 1940 something and crown their, if the Fuhrer gets a hold of this, he's now king of Britain, no questions asked. So they understand the during wartime.
It's not.
There's a committee sitting together to figure out what to do with this magic stone in case the Germans get a hold of it.
But it's not like. Did you watch wrestling when you were younger? Like the WWF, the hardcore title.
Yeah.
That could just be won anywhere at any time by someone just walking up behind you, hitting you in the back of the head, pinning you, and
Yeah.
then you're the champion.
Yeah.
So it says anytime you'd see a cutscene that's like backstage, you're like, and someone has the hardcore belt, you're like, well, I know what's about to happen.
Yeah.
But that's the exact same thing. You just take this stone, put your feet on it.
Who's
And then
gonna
you're
argue
king of
with it?
England.
You're king of England.
That's great.
It's like if you can lift the sword and the stone, you're the king.
I forgive them for everything.
Yeah. Well, this feels like it should be a movie. Maybe it is, but so they're worried about what if
Is
the
this a
Germans get hold.
philosopher's stone?
So they hide the stone behind some ancient lead coffins in a burial vault under Abbot Islip's chapel. They bury it there in the vaults. But then there's only the dean and a few people involved in the chapel know where it is.
Okay.
There's only a handful of people, and they get worried, what if we die during the war?
Mm-hmm.
So they write up treasure maps to the location and send it off. They send them to Canada, one to the Canadian Prime Minister, who puts it in the Bank of Canada, the Bank of Canada's vault in Ottawa, and then to the Lieutenant Governor of Ontario,
And one to Nicolas Cage.
and one to Nicolas Cage. And then when they when they get word that the maps have been received, they destroy the originals. It's like Face Off, actually, speaking of Nicolas Cage. They're the only ones who know the secret. They destroy all the evidence. So this during World War II is
Well,
3 secret maps
National
in...
Treasure was the reference, Kevin.
No, I know, yeah, but it's also the, when they change the faces and destroy all the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it's just it's a national treasure. There's 3 maps in North America showing how to get to this magic coronation stone that they hid from the Nazis. That's great.
This is beautiful that they're in one of the worst times the world has ever seen.
Yeah.
They're
Sir, we need more. How many more soldiers can we send over to Dunkirk? The French are getting it in the ass over there. We need to get our boys back to Blighty. Hang on a second now. I'm drawing a treasure map. What do you want, the Nazis coming in here, putting their feet in the magic stone? Next
I said
thing...
I needed that invisible ink here by Monday.
What if we have one of those little maps that are on the back of children's menus, and if you follow the maze correctly, it'll bring you to the first clue, the Magna Carta. But that's just a wonderful bit of magic stone history. But luckily, the Germans didn't get it, and it comes back out of hiding. They bring it back to Westminster Abbey just in time for Christmas Day 1950, where 4 Scottish students steal it from Westminster Abbey and bring it back to Scotland. So after, well, yeah, it was lifted in like basically, 1296.
What did you, Rob, when you were in college? Yeah, traffic cones.
Yeah,
we'd get
yeah.
some political signs. What did you get? Oh, we got the Stone of Destiny.
The Stone of Destiny.
It was a wild one. It was €2 pints and Weatherspoons. And you know what it's like. Tuesdays, students.
We were just egging each other on, and next thing you know, we're in the bloody train back to Scotland with the fucking, we've got the magic stone. Ticket inspector comes down. I've got no ticket. I'm shitting myself. I'm sitting on the bloody magic stone and all,
I'm in the bathroom of the train.
hiding with the stone under my jacket. I'm putting on a women's voice. I don't even know why, it's a unisex toilet. I'm just going rogue. But they stole the stone and brought it back. They buried it somewhere along in Kent, and then I came back and picked up the now 2 parts of it. They like brought it back to Scotland and sort of organised through some Glasgow politician to get it fixed up. But all I can think of is The Sopranos, where like the up and coming guys shoot Chris, and they come to Richie Aprile and they're like, "We shot Chris." Like, imagine showing up to politicians, a bunch of students, they're like, "Hey, we stole the magic stone back for you." So what the fuck have you done? Why the fuck did you bring that here? So they bring him, drop a magic stone on his doorstep, so then he has to get it fixed up. And they bring it back to Arbroath Abbey in April of 1951. But I don't know, they fix it up, put it on display, and then like after a couple of months they return it to Westminster. There's talks had. They say they're sorry, and they send it back down to Westminster.
How did it get out?
How did it get out?
Yeah, you'd hide that news. You'd keep that to yourself and just
On
not
whose
give
part?
The Scots.
Oh yeah, the Scots. Well, I mean, what's the point in having it if you don't brag about it?
I'd hide it. I'd just keep it there hidden.
Well, funny you say that, because when they gave it back, rumours started popping up that maybe it wasn't the real one they gave back in the first
And
place.
see, that's exactly what I'd do.
But that echoes rumours from way back the first time the English stole it. That wasn't the real one at all.
Oh, it was always a fake.
So apparently they've done, the basic test on what like the stone, because the stone, if depending on what origin story you believe, is supposedly coming from like.
I know if this is the real one. Well, do you feel kingly? I
But-
felt more kingly.
But they checked what the stone was made of, and they're like, it's normal red sandstone, like what you would find around the Abbey in Scotland where we got the stone from initially. So the legend is, well, one of the legends in a story of many legends is that when the British originally took it, or when the English originally took it in 1296, that wasn't the real one. That was a fake. And that the real one was hidden underneath Macbeth's castle all along.
You shouldn't have
Because
said that. You're not meant to say that.
we're not doing a play.
Now I'm just thinking of that's like if Guy Ritchie decided to do like a stone crime drama. That wasn't a real stone at all.
But so, yeah, the legend is that, well, there's a story from like 1818 where a guy, because this has been going around for so long and it's such an important magic stone that obviously over the centuries people have tried to like verify any of this. There's a story from 1818 where a guy followed up a story of 2 young boys who'd found a cave underneath
2 young boys. This does sound like the king.
underneath Dunsinane Hill, known as Macbeth's Castle. So they found a cave there with like a black stone with carvings and handles and insignias. Which
Okay.
sounds an awful lot more like a stone that
Then just a random piece of stone.
than a random piece of stone that seems to have come from a quarry in Scotland. They found like this hidden magical looking stone underneath the castle.
Uh-huh.
No, maybe the Brits never had the right one in the first place.
Now that okay. So what year was this? Is 1818?
Yeah.
But then, and this was 1951 that the
Scott stole the one that was in Westminster, brought it back to Scotland, and
Yeah.
then returned it to Westminster.
and this story never got out. They were just
No, it got out. There's a book. Like I've got the names of the 4 guys that stole it. I think they kind of did a victory lap of Scotland when they come up. I didn't go into it too much because this isn't a Scottish history podcast. This is an Irish history podcast. But the closing bit of that story is in 1996, the English gave it back to the Scots. The stone they had in Westminster.
Oh, okay. Oh, they realized they'd had a fake one, and they were like,
No, I think they were just like, you know what, Scotland? How about you don't vote for independence, and we'll give you your magic stone back.
"That was just give back the stone drink." Or do we also get to have a? No, no, no. We're still gonna. Everything else stays the same.
It was actually probably around the time they found out that all that oil off the coast of Scotland. You're like, how about you know what? You've always wanted the stone. Have that, and we'll just start drilling off your coast.
Yeah, but if they knew it was a fake stone,
Yeah,
they'd probably still have to say they'd have to take it back and be like, "Oh, like a Christmas gift you didn't really want, but you opened it in front of the giver." So you're like,
yeah.
"Oh, great! I've always wanted a piece of red shitty stone that doesn't mean any class. I'll get so much use out of this."
Yeah.
I say that, but the classic one is socks, and today I could really do with some socks.
Well, actually, at what point does it doesn't matter if it's real or not. It matters about the story. And at this point, the English have had the same stone for 700 years. And they decide to give it, unless the Scottish switched at that time in the 50s. But let's say it is the same stone. They decide to give it back. There's a big ceremony. 15th of November, 1996. The stone is handed back by the Duke of York, Prince Andrew.
Ah,
Brings the stone back to the Scots and says, here you go.
interesting.
It is interesting. I don't know what sort of jokes you could make there. It'd be in poor taste, I'd say.
That's a fill in the blank.
Prince Andrew handing back a 700-year-old stone to the Scots. 700 years old. Bit old for me by about 690 years. Divided by 100, then we're talking.
The 10 Commandments. The 10. Oh, Commandments.
But he handed it back.
18, you say?
No, thank you. Well, it's funny because it does seem does seem like equally busy work, and also like who we're gonna get to send the stone back to Scotland.
Epstone's.
Epstone's Island. There we go. Some say if you hold your feet up to it, you can hear a howling sound, but don't look into that too much. But they gave the stone back anyway after 700 years. Or maybe it never left Scotland.
Or never existed in the first place.
Or maybe it never existed in the first place. But anyway, so for Charles's coronation, the Scottish are gracefully given the stone back for Charles to be crowned on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of amicable now after all these. Charles would have been the first king not crowned on it in since like the 1200s.
Yeah. Plus, it's probably good for tourism. I assume they get it back after. They're just lending it to him for a few weeks.
I remember another chap that lent it to a fella
Yeah.
2,000 years ago. And where is it now?
Do you think they just handed it off hoping, well, if we give it to him, maybe they'll all die
Maybe.
at sea on the way to an island?
But yeah, that's the story of the magic stone that Charles would be sitting on. Stolen from the Scots, probably stolen from us. Almost certainly the magical stone pillow that Jacob laid his head upon when he was writing Tim Robinson's Jacob's Ladder.
That fair play.
Yeah.
Good episode. Good story.
Yeah.
I like that.
As a stinger, Stonehenge, also stolen from the Irish. Those are our rocks.
Really? Were they dolmen stones or were they?
I mean, there's an ancient story about Merlin going over to Ireland and stealing stones.
Mm-hmm.
What more do you want?
That's fair.
Yeah. Some of the stones, they've looked at them. The scientists, they came from very far away.
That makes sense.
So there you go. More ancient stones robbed from us by the British. Have they no shame?
Yeah. Do we have other stones? What do we? Well, I suppose the Blarney stone, Rock of Cashel, Stonehenge.
Yeah, Dolmen stones, Connemara, the Burren.
Yeah. Stone Roses, Manchester, probably something.
Probably, yeah.
Some Irish connection.
Almost certainly. This stone, the Stone of Destiny, aka the Stone of Scone, or the Stone of Scone. But it's interesting. It is funny that that's still like it. Like where it came from, nobody knows. But it is.
I know where it came from. This beautiful little.
This
nation.
beautiful island and possibly Egypt. But it is funny that they're still like using it as a ceremonial, and that they're worried about the Nazis getting it in World War II.
We don't talk enough about the history of World War like 1 and 2 that aren't the actual battles and all of it. It's the rest of the stories.
Oh yeah,
that are the fun part.
The story of a magic stone being hidden and treasure maps being sent off to like the governors of Canada to hide in bank vaults.
Yeah,
that's great. And
that's
one sent to the desk of part-time archaeologist / history teacher with a whip.
Andrew Dorman.
Andrew Dorman. That's pretty much it. The only other stuff I put in, the Leah Phil. Maybe we'll do this as part of our right-wing Irish fascist party, because the Justin Barrett, the National
do you mean the
Party.
episode or when we run?
When we run, we'll start doing an episode about that. But Leah Fall was a right-wing party in the 1950s that named themselves after the Stone of Destiny. But we'll do a whole fascist Ireland episode at some point. The only other Irish connection is Charles, future King of England. His great uncle was Lord Mountbatten of the IRA fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told you that story today when I was on the train, and that old woman was talking about her. She was talking to her friend across the train very loudly on the train from Galway to Dublin about Mountbatten. There's a conspiracy theory that Mountbatten was a paedophile. There's the FBI apparently was keeping tabs on him way back when as being a paedophile. But then there's also a conspiracy tied in with the Concora Boys Home and all of the stuff that happened there. Horrible abuse by the church, and then there was like that they were funneling young boys to Mountbatten. Who knows how true any of that is? I'm going to think it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
But she certainly believed it was true. But her main gripe seemed to be that it happened in Mayo, her county. The whole trade, she was just like,
What, like?
and you know me now. That Mountbatten was just a bad element. But the things that he did to those boys, I'm sorry now, that is just too much. In my county, bringing them over to my and you know me now, Moira, that is just too much. That is too much for me. As if he'd been doing it in Dublin, that would have been grand. Part and parcel
Almost
for those.
expected.
Almost expected. Sure, what more could you expect? The way things are down there with single mothers and heroin and such. But to do it in my county, that is just scandalous. And the outrage what he did to those boys, it's unforgivable.
Oh.
He's a bad element in my books.
A bad element.
Just with the tone of a man who'd like failed to pay his TV license, or just the like running a child sex ring out of a Catholic institution.
This guy's a real jerk.
He's a real piece of work.
That's great.
But
Terrible, but that's great.
Great stuff. That, but also during that same because she earlier on been given out about like teenagers using the language out of them. Now I've been known to get a bit blue in my own house if the situation requires it, but never out and about in public. Just the language out of them. And then fast forward to 10 minutes later, her openly talking about young boys being raped.
Yeah.
In full earshot of like people who were probably affected by the. I mean, it's a small country, and there was a massive scandal.
She's traveling from Mayo.
Yeah, like it was the Galway train. It was the people on it would have been like from that vicinity.
Yeah. Look.
That's just too much. And you know me. The last person who'd put up for such.
What a stand to make.
Yeah.
This is
you know me. I hate pedophiles.
I don't like pedophiles.
You know me. You know my position on this. Now, I do not like sex trafficking of young boys.
Which is always the way as well. When you hear people saying they don't like pedophiles, often turns out
they do.
They are ones themselves.
Yeah. You got a real Andrew Callahan situation going on there.
Yeah.
I read about that last night after you broke my heart. It's not looking good for old Channel 5. All gas. No, maybe you should have put the brakes on a little bit. So ease up on the gas.
I saw Kev just furiously Google it. It's like, I just want this to be not true. Just has to be. Yeah, that was a sad one.
That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
but sure, look, I got to enjoy I was watching that YouTube series for a few months, years ago.
Yeah.
Hadn't thought about him since. Anytime he popped up, I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
So my hands are clean.
Yeah, you did. You went off for being exploitative. You kind of ruined them on me then. And now it turns out it's much worse than that.
Exploiting something else a lot worse.
Yeah. And you know me now. That's too much.
On my YouTube feed.
And for Channel 5. I'm sorry now. That's just... He's a bad egg. Anyway, that's it for this week's edition of Bad Elements.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'll see you next week. Good luck.
Shafter.
Oh, wait. England, give us our magic stone back.
Yes, we want all the stones.
Yes.